In this video, we'll share the top 7 things we did to get there. Hey guys, before we get started, we want to introduce ourselves. I'm Jared, and this is my wife Amber. We've been married for 9 years, and we have 3 crazy kids that you just met in the beginning of the video. I majored in computer science, and I've been working in business development and been working for a small tech company for the last 15 years.
And I have a degree in sports management. I was a public school teacher for 7 years in high school, and then I became a nonprofit event manager for 2 years, and then after we had our first child, I became a stay-home mom.
Number 7 is credit too.
So, as we talk about increasing our credit scores, I wanted to share a big mistake that I made that really set me back. And when I was younger, I had a lot of great credit history and I had multiple cards and accounts. I was taught that what I needed to do was pay off the balances and then close the accounts. And I thought that was like the best thing I could do to build up my credit score. And then I later found out in Credit Karma that the reason for that was as soon as I closed those accounts, all that information was essentially deleted from existence. And it was as if I never had any of those credit cards or accounts.
Yeah, so like Jared said, we actually used Credit Karma to track our credit scores. We studied the credit report that they sent to us, and we followed their recommendations and their insights that they gave us to really boost our credit back up. And if you guys don't know, Credit Karma actually gives you your credit card utilization. It shows you any derogatory remark. It shows you your payment history, your total accounts that you have. It shows you the age of your credit history. And then it also shows you the number of hard inquiries that you have. So for us, we used it and we looked at those and we saw in the red, it was like the age of the credit history was very red and there was nothing there. It might have been like we have 2 years of credit history or something like that.
Yeah, it seemed really odd to us that we were strong in all the other categories except for that.
So what we did is we actually added Jared as a authorized user to my card, which was a Victoria's Secret card that I got when I was 18 years old. So it's a 17-year-old card. And that is our oldest card that we have. For us, the big takeaway was don't cancel your cards. And then make sure that you annually kind of like purchase something on it to keep it in good standing so that you protect that card and then you can continue having that age of credit. We also wanted to share, this is not a sponsored video by any means. We just really like using Credit Karma to track our credit scores, and we want you guys to all use it and everybody. I mean, it's been such a blessing to us.
Yeah, we try to tell all of our friends and family about it constantly that, if they're not using it, they need to start using it, and it's totally free, so why not? And it doesn't affect your credit score, so.
Yeah, might as well. So make sure you stay tuned. We're going to share some more videos about how we use Credit Karma to really benefit us and our family.
Tips, monthly budget. Number 6 and
monthly budget.
Monthly budget.
So early on in our relationship, we didn't have a budget. Here's some examples of how we managed our money, which some of them are kind of funny. We bought 2 jet skis on a credit card. And I've never heard of anybody doing that. And when we were there, they thought we were crazy. We had a high mortgage payment on a lake house. We spent over $1,000 a month on restaurant and groceries. Really, those numbers, we didn't know at the time how much we were spending. We just found that out after the fact. For at least for like 6 months straight, we were spending $1,000.
I was.
Oh yeah, we were spending $1,000 at Michael's, the arts and crafts store, if you guys are familiar with that. We were spending that money at like $10 at a time on little tiny transactions that, by themselves didn't seem like a lot, but they added up to $1,000 a month. We had a car payment. We didn't know what an emergency fund was. We didn't know how much to put in it, and we didn't really have any savings at the time. We had 2 student loan payments. Bottom line, we consistently spent more money than we had.
Right. So what we did is we started using Mint, another app. And again, this is not sponsored. We really just...
We love Mint. We use Mint.
You really pushed that. It was like, it was really eye-opening. And it's really nice to have it like straight on your phone. So we use that to track our spending. Monthly, daily. With that, we created an annual budget plan.
It's been an evolution though. You kind of get better at it over time, and you set goals as to what you're going to spend, and then you sort of go back and you track it and see, well, how well did we do against that goal? And then if you need to adjust it, then you do. And we did that for years.
Yeah, and it's nice that, it gives you, it's color-coded, green, red, and yellow. And so it kind of tells you, like, you're on track or you're not on track. So you can kind of dial back or kind of save that money. So it's nice. It's a nice visual. What we do is we actually also meet with each other, and we try to do that on a monthly basis to talk about our budget for that month, that previous month, and then looking forward into the next month and then throughout the year too. So on this channel, what we hope to do is we hope to share how we use Mint to actually track our spending and then to transform our financial outlook.
Number 5, tell Number 5, tell
Let's talk about our investment strategy in the stock market. We do a combination of things, so we'll talk about just the highlights right now. One is that we do invest in index funds. We like those, and we have several that we've researched and that we've invested in over a long period of time. We also do invest in individual companies, and so individual stocks like Apple, Amazon, Netflix, those types of things. Our strategy is around value investing, like what Warren Buffett does and Phil Town, people like that. And we have a long-term perspective. We also do some swing trades, so some of the kind of medium term. Every now and then something comes up and we've taken advantage of it and we made some pretty good profit. Another piece of our investment strategy is making your own financial decisions. Right. We'd recommend is do consult with professionals and financial advisors and banks, and you analyze it and you see if you want to work that into your plan or not. We look at both the fundamentals of a company and we also look at the technicals. Another thing that we do is we spend a lot of time looking at the valuations of a company when we invest in individual stocks. I think it's really important that you know what a company is worth and to have a lot of different valuation metrics that you look at and looking at the average of those numbers so that when the stock market's going up and down, you have some semblance of what that company is worth and where you should buy it at and where you might want to sell it at.
So what we're going to do in the next video is we're going to share some of our secrets about how we've grown our portfolio to over $1 million over the last 15 years.
Number 4, house flipping. House flip.
So we're here at our new house. It's going to be finished in June, and we actually signed the contract in April. And now this house is $170,000 more than what we signed the contract for. And our last 2 houses that we sold, we made $100,000 in those. And we did that by buying in a phase 1 development. We were able to also buy in a neighborhood that was in a good school district. We also really upgraded high impact areas of the house that made sense for ourselves and buyers potentially. Did a pre-sale inspection for our houses, and then we also did professional staging and photography.
So we want you guys to subscribe, and we'll tell you more about this story and more about our last house, how we sold it for $40,000 more than what we paid for it in 8 months.
Number 3, a juice cat.
So this next one, of all the things that we've talked about, is probably the most difficult.
Yeah, I agree.
In 2014, we went on a trip to Nicaragua with a local nonprofit because we remember it was just like this water that was like green, and I think you saw one that was like the bucket of their water that they were using, and it was just
nothing we'd ever seen before in our life. We couldn't imagine that people were actually living like that.
Like their houses were just these like shacks. I mean, literally like 8 foot by 8 foot, made of anything that they could find. There was like these little kids who just like all they had was like one shirt, or they didn't even have shoes. And then like playing with a marble and rock. We were just talking about this. Like with that though, it changed our mindset on how we were living and what we were doing. And that really helped us realize we really needed to make a change. We really needed to reduce our cost of living if we sold our lake house, and then we bought a house that was half the cost of that lake house. Sold our jet skis, we sold our boat. We drove 1 car for a couple years. We actually started spending less, hundreds of dollars less, on dining out and groceries and shopping.
One of the next videos that we want to share is the story of how we saved $3,000 a month and we paid off our mortgage at the time down to $40,000.
Number 2, paid off.
Early on in our journey, we owed, believe it or not, we owed $30,000 on high interest credit cards. So when we had that, that was a big hurdle that we had to overcome in order to get to where we are today. So we did some research on different methods to pay off that debt. One of the things that we came up with is to pay off the card that has the highest interest rate.
Right.
And then once you pay that off, you take that amount that you were paying the monthly payment on and you pay that to the next credit card that you have with the next highest rate. So once we did that and we got the credit cards out of our lives, we were able to then apply that to savings and investments and things like that could actually start building wealth for us.
So make sure you subscribe to learn how you can actually pay off your high interest debt quickly, like we did, and find the best credit cards.
Number 1.
Yay! So the most impactful thing we did was to contribute to our 401k, and not only contribute to that, but to actually max it out. I was doing this actually when I was making $35,000 right out of college. As we were, again, while we were preparing for this video, we did some research and looked at our last 15 years of income, and surprisingly, the average income was $75,000. So not a very high income, but we were still able to max out our 401k and become millionaires like we've talked about in this video. So some of the pros to doing this were that, first of all, it's automatic. You know, it's something that came out of our paycheck and we never saw the money and we didn't really think about it. Certain months we might have even forgotten that we had it.
We weren't looking at it for a long time. Like, it was just in there.
Yeah. There's also limits on how frequently you can transfer funds. So that was good because it kept me from trying to time the market. Another pro was that we were able to invest in low-cost index funds. So we had a lot of diversity and low cost versus some of the other mutual funds. And the other thing was that we could only invest it in low-risk assets. So there really didn't have a lot of variety. I think there were maybe 10 different, either a mutual fund or an index fund to choose from.
So make sure in future videos what we hope to do is we hope to share more detailed information on everything that Jared's talked about, the 401ks, the IRAs, the index funds, and reveal how we actually grew our 401k, our portfolio, to over $700,000 in the last 15 years.
I'm full.
And who are you in the middle? I'm Guinevere. I'm 7 months old. Who are you?
I'm Teddy Bear.
And how old are you?
I'm 2. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
Okay, so now that you've met our family, seen our kids, heard our story, we wanted to share how becoming millionaires at age 35 has affected our life, how it's impacted us. We've had definitely less financial stress and anxiety, less arguments related to money. Another thing is more financial independence, more freedom. The ability to retire early, and I say retire early, but it's not just retiring early. It could be retiring to do something that you're really passionate about. It could be something that you want to, maybe you want to go part-time instead of full-time. So
some other ways that it's impacted our life, you know, for us, we're able to support our kids, 3 kids, maybe 4. Not pregnant right now, but in the future, 4. And then we're able to homeschool our children and give them that experience and then pour into them that way. We're able to spend money on things that enhance our lives. Like for us, we're thinking like Alaskan cruise, African safari, an RV, cross-country trip. It's also given us more flexibility with our time, and then also the opportunity to pursue passions like Holy City Family, this channel. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and join us as we learn, save, and grow together.